Hola, mi gente. Bienvenido. Welcome to Check This Out. Today is Friday, March 14th. I hope you guys had an amazing week, and I hope you have a better weekend if you guys, had a rough week at work or, doing what you guys are doing. Um, I want everybody to, if you can, like, subscribe, or comment on anything that I say on this video. But please, guys, let's keep it respectful. Like I always say in my videos, let's keep it positive, or negative. It doesn't matter. But let's respect each other is what I'm asking. Um, in today's video, I would like to talk about our kids and how their lives, when they become adult, is very important for us. Well, not really when they become adults, but basically when they are children still. When they are children, we have to be present, guys. We have to be present and vigilant of our kids. Okay? The streets have changed a lot since we were younger. I grew up in the basically in the midst of the 90s. I was a teenager in 93, 94. No, I was a teenager in 95. Okay, 95, I was a teenager, and it was a different time back then. Very different time back then. If people, I saw a couple of maybe, of course, I saw fights. There was always school fights, and sometimes a stabbing, rarely a stabbing, but shootouts. There were shootouts, yeah, but it wasn't as common as it is today, guys. So that's why it's very important for us to stay involved in our kids' life. Okay. When the kids are ages anywhere from 3 to 5, I say 3 to 5 or 6. This is when they're learning the skill of communicating, conversation, how to listen. That's when we, hit them with a pow pow, and hey, he behave. So we already teaching our kids those things, because I always say that the first education you get is at home. The first education that we all get is at home, and that's what's gonna actually develop us into the person that we grow up to be, you know. Um, so from 3 to 5 is learning how to speak, how to talk, and how to listen. Okay, how to listen. Those are very important ages for our kids. I say from 6 to 10. Now that they are in school, of course they learning how to speak and how to listen. Now they're learning that from a different source. They're learning that either from their teacher, or they're learning that from their peers, the students. So that's very important, those years too, from 6 to 10, because at the end of the day, you know, we could only do so much, but during when they have the time with us, but for 8 to sometimes 10 hours, this kid's be in school, so they're learning from their teacher or from the students, their peers, and if we can't, guys, we are sorry about the airplane noise. Obviously, I'm by the airport here. Um, if we can, also we put them in a team. Put them in a baseball league, a basketball league, swimming. Put them in something that develops teamwork. You know what I'm saying? Because that's gonna be very pivotal for the kid to know and learn how to be a team member. Okay, to this day, even at work, okay, most of us, we gotta deal with people. We deal with our bosses, we deal with our coworkers. So everything is relatively a team. Without that, then where will we go? If the boss is not here, the head of the company, of the person, of the supervisor who's telling you what to do, or everything, we could only guess how to go about it, so much on that day. But once that teacher or that supervisor or that the boss is there, Now we certain, or okay, this is what got to be done. That's what's got to be done. You know, there's more certainty when the bosses are there. So therefore, those years are very important. 6 to 10, you know, teamwork. I call those years teamwork. You know, they're learning how to be a part of a team there. And I say anywhere from 10 or 11 all the way up to the 16, 17, or even a little, you know, yeah, 16, 17, I'll say, you know, that they're hitting now, teenage years and all that. If your kid is troubled a little bit, that you see that he's very hyper or very, you know, yeah, very hyper basically, or very energized, you know, we gotta put them, you know, we gotta find out, number one, why they so hyper or so energized, and you know, two, also to burn some of that energy, let's put them in a karate class, let's put them in a boxing class. You know, it's very important that our kids learn discipline. Discipline is very important in our kids' life, okay? That's that. Everything comes in a full circle, guys. Discipline is very important. He's gonna need that later on in life when he grows up. You know, when to talk, when to listen, how to be a team player. Okay, how to be disciplined enough for him or her to handle the situation that they're going through. You know, sometimes, you know, like I was talking in my previous video, us men, I'm gonna admit it, us men too, we think with emotions. Okay, sometimes we don't think rational, and when that comes in, you know, when that becomes involved in our life, that's when we gotta take a step back and, okay, let me see how can I do this, or how can I go about it, or maybe come up with a different solution as I would normally react. That is called discipline, guys. You know what I'm saying? Your kid is now developing that skill, you know. So that's very important in our kid's life, you know. And you know, if you take him to a boxing class, or a few classes, obviously you involve him in boxing or karate, you know, obviously discipline is number one. But you know, they're also learning how to self-defense, you know. You know, it's very important that the kids in our days learn how to, you know, at least, you know, self-defense, you know, defend themselves, because there's a lot of things that are happening in our world. You know, anything or anyone could get ticked off like this, man. I done seen it with my own eyes. You know, you look at somebody wrong, you step at somebody's shoe, you know, you say I'm sorry, and that's sometimes it's not enough. So the person, you know, the other person want to be so confrontational that sometimes you have no escape. You know, that person might swing on you first, or swing on the kid first, and what, you just gonna let your kid get beat up? No, that's why it's very important to learn how to defend yourself, but also be disciplined. You know, I'm not saying that he's gonna come out of karate class or boxing class and, you know, start hitting the mother or the father. That's not what I'm saying. But at the same time, I want my kid to be disciplined, so that way, and be able to defend themselves, so that way, if a situation does occur, my kid is ready. You know, um, those traits are very important in our kids' life, because that's gonna lead them to become young men and young adults. You know, in some countries, um, after 18, I mean, well, here in the United States, 18 is considered adults. You know, you're an adult already. So, you know, you might be careful if that kid does something out there that he shouldn't be doing, and that's going to cost him his freedom. You know, we don't want that. You know what I'm saying? And in other countries, you know, adults, you know, usually happen when puberty happens. They're already an adult. So I just wanted to relate that message to you guys. Always be aware, always be attentive. Sorry about the airplane noise again. Um, Always be involved in our kids' life is very important. And please, guys, please pray, guys. I cannot say this enough. Always pray to God, man. It has helped me tremendously. Join a Bible group. You know, I'm myself, you know, I'm in a Bible group. You know, we do Bible studies, and it has helped me a lot. You know, if you can't do that, then go to church. You know, go to church, guys. You know, it's okay. You know that, you know, you pray to God, to our Father, really, because that's our Father, God. I never really had a parent involved like that, a father figure involved in like that, but I'm learning about him, and to me, he's my father. You know what I'm saying? God is my father. He's my savior. He's everything. He's my protector, you know. And if you can do that, at least get a Bible, learn about him. It's not very hard for us to learn about God, man. If you just take a few, you don't even have to be hours, guys. It could be just a few minutes out the day, and you see the difference, that is the calmness that becomes within you, with your life. So I just wanted to relate those messages to you guys to, be involved in our kids' life always. It's very, very important. Okay, now I'm gonna say this in Spanish now, so that way, everybody gets the message, because I speak both languages, obviously. Hola, bienvenido a Check This Out. Hoy, marzo 14 14 de marzo, hoy es viernes. Quiero decirle que por favor denle a like, suscríbanse a mi video. Si tienen un comentario positivo o negativo, por favor lo dejan ahí, abajo de esto pueden dejar el comentario. Y por favor vamos a respetarnos. Es lo primero que yo le dejo saber, que en este video podemos hablar de lo que sea, pero vamos a respetarnos uno al otro, por favor. La vida de nuestros hijos, en verdad, nosotros siempre vemos a nuestros hijos como que se quedan chiquitos, que nunca crecen, al menos que están casados ya, o con su propio hijo, o con su esposa. Y así también nosotros lo vemos como que todavía no han crecido. Pero aquí es muy importante estar involucrado o alrededor de la vida de nuestros hijos desde pequeños, señores. Es bien importante estar ahí con los hijos de nosotros de pequeños. Yo digo que la edad de 3 a 5 es bien importante para el niño, porque en esa de 3 a 5 o a 6 es bien importante, porque a esa edad el niño está aprendiendo a hablar, se está comunicando, está haciendo oraciones con usted, él está también en el proceso de aprender a escuchar. Escuchar es una cosa que, mira, lo va a llevar a él a diferentes niveles en el mundo. La primera cosa, nosotros lo primero que hacemos es hablar. Y escuchar nunca se nos mete en la cabeza. So, escuchar es una cosa bien importante para nuestros hijos en esa edad, que se comuniquen y escuchen también. Desde 6 a 10, yo digo que el niño ya está yendo a la escuela, ya está viendo al compañero de él, al profesor de él, y ya está aprendiendo de otra persona. Acuérdense, señores, que la primera educación es en su casa. En su casa es la primera educación, ¿ok? Después, cuando él sale ahí al mundo, ya está viendo diferentes cosas. Ya está la educación que él recibe ya del mundo. ¿Tú me entiendes? Entonces, en esa edad de 6 a 10, yo digo que él ya está aprendiendo diferentes cosas, porque ya está obviamente viendo diferentes cosas. No es nada más usted que está en la cara de ellos. Ya las 8 horas que no está ahí con usted, está en manos de otra persona o de la escuela. Y por eso es importante estar ahí para sus hijos. Y también, si puede, métalo a un deporte. Métalo a un deporte, a jugar béisbol, a jugar básquetbol, a jugar un poco de fútbol, lo que sea. Métenlo en eso, señores, llévense de mí, porque eso le trae a él cómo ser parte de un equipo. Parte de un equipo en esta vida es bien, pero bien importante. ¿Por qué? Porque, créanlo o no, ustedes todavía en esta vida son parte de un equipo. Si tienen un trabajo ustedes, obviamente tienen un jefe, tienen a los compañeros. Pues ya está ahí, eso, usted es parte de un equipo. ¿Usted me entiende? Entonces, eso siempre va a estar presente en nuestra vida. Disculpen por el sonido del avión que está pasando. Obviamente estoy por un aeropuerto. Entonces, parte de un equipo es bien importante en la vida de nuestros hijos. Por favor, manténgalo ahí, ¿ok? Y siempre esté mirándolo a ellos, sobre ellos. Yo digo también que la edad de 10 como a 16, 17, ya ellos que están llegando a una edad, que están llegando a ser teenager, ¿ok? O adolescentes, como decimos los hispanos, hay que enseñarle a ellos que usted tiene que estar ahí también, pero ya cuando llegan a esa edad, ustedes tienen que velar por si la actitud de ellos cambian, la manera de ser, siempre están un poco rabiosos. Tú sabes que nosotros cuando estamos pequeños siempre algo de una cosa nos molestamos de nada. O si tiene mucha energía el hijo tuyo, por favor, señores, métalo entonces métalo en boxeo. Usted me entiende, le voy a decir por qué. Métalo en boxeo o en karate, algo para que lo ayude a quemar esa energía que él siempre tiene o ella tiene. Eso es bien importante. Si lo va a meter ahí a karate o a boxeo, por favor, señores, tengan seguro que ustedes hacen un poquito de tareita y busquen al coach o a ver cómo es que el líder del equipo o la persona que le va a enseñar el boxeo o el karate, los credenciales de él. Busquen si es un buen coach, si él es conocido, si es bueno con los muchachos. Busquen en la página de él a ver los comentarios que han dejado de esa persona. Es muy importante en la vida de nuestros hijos. ¿Y por qué le estoy diciendo eso? Porque cuando él está yendo a karate o a boxeo, ¿okay? A cosas así que son un poco físicas ya, la disciplina, señores, la disciplina que él va a aprender ahí. A veces nosotros no tenemos tiempo de enseñarle la disciplina. Ah, no, siéntate ahí. Ah, no, echa para allá, que no tengo tiempo para eso. Entonces tenemos que buscar ayuda de otra persona. Disciplina es bien importante en la vida de nuestros hijos, señores. Vamos a estar arriba de eso. Siempre. La disciplina es bien importante, señores. Llévense de mí. Hay algunos países que ya cuando llegan a 18, bueno, aquí en Estados Unidos, cuando llegan a 18 ya son adultos. Pero en otros países ya cuando llegan a, no sé cómo decir, puberty. Ahí me dejan en el comentario si uno de ustedes quiere, me escriben puberty. Entonces ya en muchos países, ya cuando llegan a esa edad de 13, 14, ya ellos se consideran como adultos. ¿Ok? Entonces yo quiero que nosotros estemos un poquito más educados en eso y vamos a estar un poquito más arriba de nuestros hijos, porque con estas cosas que está pasando, señora, en este mundo, yo me acuerdo que yo cuando era pequeño, yo veía una peleita, tal vez uno escuchaba que alguien pullaba a alguien o con un cuchillo o algo así. Los tiros eran bien raros que se den, di que tiro. Ahora eso es común, señores, que la gente anda con una pistola por ahí y es bien común. Entonces, hay que proteger a nuestros hijos, señores. Protejan a nuestros hijos. Siempre manténganlo ahí. Por favor, señores, aprendan a rezar, recen, como yo siempre les digo. Métanse a un grupito ahí para leer, aprender de la Biblia. Eso es bueno, que estén ahí estudiando la Biblia siempre. También vayan a la iglesia, señores. Llévense de mí, que eso me ha traído a mí mucha tranquilidad en la vida mía. Vayan a la iglesia y siempre recen y tengan a Dios siempre encima de uno y buscando a Dios, buscando del Señor. Eso es lo que les quería comunicar para hoy. Voy a hacer los videos más frecuentes ahora, como les dije antes, todos los viernes voy a tratar de bajar un video y ustedes lo van a poder ver. Eso era todo que quería decirle. Oiga, y si tienen algo que escribirme, me quieren escribir algo personal, mi email o la página de correo es Jeffrey Audi a gmail.com. Mira, se me cayó el tape que tengo ahí arriba. Bueno, señores, hasta la próxima. Se me cuidan. Later.